September, we have a title fight between Anthony Joshua and Daniel Dubois. I totally forgot about this fight. Um, Very good fight. Very good fight, man. Should be rather interesting. This is for the vacant, well, soon to be vacant, I suppose, the IBF heavyweight title that's right now. I guess it's still hanging in limbo with Alexander Usyk because I think they're gonna strip it from him. There's a whole lot of different things going on with that. I'm not gonna get into that right here. We already know the story behind that, but they will be making Daniel Dubois the IBF champion. So Anthony Joshua will be like the challenger going into this fight to go and try to obtain that belt off of Daniel Dubois. So let's get into the tail of the tape, man. We got let's talk about Daniel Dubois. 26 years old, 6'5" in height, 78-inch arm reach. 21 wins, 2 losses, 20 big wins by knockout, and his 2 losses, both one came at the hands of Joe Joyce, and the other one came at the hands of Alexander Usyk. Okay, so 2 career losses, but he has bounced back since that fight with 2 knockouts. One against Jarrell Miller and the other against Filip Hrgovic more recently. Looked very good in both of those fights. Daniel Dubois is a very powerful puncher. 95% knockout ratio. That's why they call him Dynamite. Not very technical. Doesn't really move his head a lot. Not much footwork. Very good body work. And his speed is kind of moderate. Not the fastest, but he has pretty, his moderate speed. Defense, a lot to be left to question. Sometimes at times you'll catch him kind of like he'll telegraph his punches sometimes. I've seen him counter. He has decent countering skills. Nothing to call home to mama about. But he's a pretty good fighter, man. He's all typical heavyweight, man. He's a banger. He gets you hurt. He's gonna finish you. And lots of times when he's in those exchanges, you see that's probably where he gets clipped. All right. Now we got Anthony Joshua, 34 years of age, a little bit older than Daniel Dubois. 6'6" with an 82-inch arm reach. So he's an inch taller than Daniel Dubois, but he has way longer arms. And I think that's going to play a factor in this fight, man. The arm length of Anthony Joshua. Joshua, 28 wins, 3 losses, 25 big wins by knockout. He's been knocked out one time, and that was by Andy Ruiz. All right, he has an 89% knockout ratio. So he's definitely dealing with some serious raw power as well. So we got 2 big punches here, 2 big power punches, similar heights. But Anthony Joshua definitely has the reach and the ring experience over Daniel Dubois. All right, Anthony Joshua, he's more of a technical fighter. Has a really good jab. He bobs and moves his head sometimes. He has better upper body movement than Daniel Dubois. Much better jab than Daniel Dubois. Footwork better than Daniel Dubois. And I think the speed is there too. I think he's a little bit faster than Daniel Dubois too. Even at 34 years old, I think he has the speed advantage over him. Okay. Sometimes, his defense is a little questionable too, Anthony Joshua's, but it's more solid than Daniel Dubois' defense, man. So that's what makes this a little interesting because, You wonder where they're gonna keep this fight at. Is it gonna be in the middle of the ring? Is it gonna be right up close? They're gonna be banging it in the pocket, and I think it's gonna be a little bit of both, man. And then I think that's where the fight gonna be decided at, bro. I think it's gonna be decided mid-range. I think up to close, they can smother each other's work, but I think they start fighting mid-range or start exchanging mid-range. I think that's where the fight gonna be decided. This fight is not going to the cards, man. Somebody's gonna get knocked out in this fight. Let's talk about Dame Dubois' last 3 performances, man. Last fight was Philip Hrgovic, 8th round knockout. Busted up Hrgovic really bad in that fight. He had cuts on both his eyes. That's why the fight was stopped in the 8th. Hrgovic was hitting Daniel with some really good shots. And at times it looked like Hrgovic, he hurt Dubois a few times. Dubois shook it off. Even though I think Joshua has a better jab, a more educated jab, but Dubois, he does have a pretty decent jab. It's okay. I don't think it's up there with Joshua's, but it's a pretty good jab. And he was able to use that to get in on Hrgovic and bust him up, man. I never seen Hrgovic that busted up. Busted him up, 8th round stoppage. Exceptional performance in that fight by Daniel Dubois. And then the fight before that was Jarrell Miller. Went 10 rounds, went technical knockout. Right the last bit of that fight, right the last few seconds, he managed to knock Jarrell Miller out. Another fight that you see Dubois, he did get rocked a few times in that fight too against Jarrell Miller, but he weathered the storm. A lot of back and forth action in that fight. Dubois rallied at the last minute and cracked. I don't know if it was a left or a right. Cracked Jarrell Miller, had him against the ropes, and hurt him. If that would have happened like earlier in the 10th, he would have knocked him out cold probably. But it was right at the end of the fight, right at the last bell almost. He got Jarrell Miller out of there. Pretty much a banging rock and sock performance in that fight. I think he did better against Hrgovic. And then Alexander Usyk fight, he lost 9th round stoppage. A lot of people believe he stopped Usyk. He did. I think that he got robbed in that fight. I think Usyk was hurt to that. That was a body shot, and then he clearly should have been a knockout right there for Dubois. But politics came into play, and they didn't even call it a knockdown. I believe they called it a low blow. That was bullshit. That wasn't a low blow. Everybody's seen it. You can replay it yourself. That was not a low blow. Usyk just could not take that body shot, boy. It knocked the wind out of him. Usyk's movement, though, was causing some issues in that fight for Dubois. He got put down in that round, the 8th round. Then he got put down again in the 9th round. So, pressure bust pipes, I guess, sometimes, man. But he couldn't deal with it, I guess, towards the end. I just found that funny. That body shot was a little weird, how they didn't call that a knockdown, bro. That was a little weird. That I think he won that fight, man, but it is what it is. But I think that 5th round knockdown of Usyk, that right there should have been the end of the fight. That was not a low blow. But it's all right, man. It is what it is. It's boxing. It's to be expected, man. Anthony Joshua's last 3 fights. He definitely had a better run than Dane Dubois. He had no losses. He had pretty much 3 stoppages in his last 3. He stopped Francis Ngannou in the 2nd round, knocked him out cold. Otto Wallin beat him, knocked him out in the 5th round. And then Robert Helenius, he knocked him out in the 7th round. And all those performances, he looked the sharpest against the more devastating. He looked more vicious against, to me, Otto Wallin. Joshua is coming off of a three knockout streak pretty much, yo. So Will he get it done against Daniel Dubois? I guess we'll see, right? So let me, share with y'all what I think is going to happen in this fight. I think Joshua's probably going to utilize his jab a lot in this fight because they know the jab is like a kryptonite to Daniel Dubois because we saw what happened with the jab. Usyk was catching him with some good jabs. I think that's what Dubois got to worry about, Joshua's jab and his rights. Joshua got to worry about Daniel Dubois' body attack as well, because he's a very good body puncher. He'll have to worry about that. But I think Joshua going to have him at the end of a stick for probably a good 4 or 5 rounds of this fight. Probably busting him up with the jab, then coming in, hitting him to the body. Dubois is probably going to have some success maybe in the first maybe 3 rounds. Okay. Now, it's going to probably come down to who can take each other's punch, too. I think Joshua they used to call Joshua chinny. I don't think he is. I just think, he gets caught with some good shots when his hands is down. But I think his chin is probably a bit better than Daniel Dubois, man. So Dubois going to have to be much more careful. They both are, because these dudes could both punch. So, that's always going to be the equalizer in this fight. But I think Joshua's, he has more skills in the bag. I think that's going to get him through this one. I see late knockout, man, maybe 10th round for Anthony Joshua. I think you're going to hit him with a either straight right or right cross. Straight right, or it's going to be maybe a right hook, and he's going to end this fight. Going to catch Daniel Dubois in the exchange, I think. Maybe a mid-range exchange. And he's going to counter him and catch him with a good right shot and then knock him out. I think that's how this fight is going to end. So I expect that to happen. We'll see, but we never know. This is boxing. We might even see a bunch of different knockdowns. We might see Daniel Dubois knock down Joshua a few times. We might see it just similar to the way Klitschko and Joshua fight went. Might see a fight like that. Joshua get knocked down a few times, get up. Daniel Dubois gets knocked down a couple of times. Maybe he gets up. But I think Joshua, his power is probably a little bit more, maybe an inch more devastating, you know what I mean? But I think because his arms, too. His arms is a little longer. It's like 2 big-ass sledgehammers coming at you. But I think he's going to get it done in the 10th round. Going to catch him because Daniel Dubois doesn't really move his head a lot. And I think Joshua going to capitalize on that. He's going to time him. And it's going to be boom, lights out. Joshua will become the new IBF heavyweight champion once again. That is my prediction. Round 10. Let's see how it goes. This is your boy, Rebel Life Boxing. Let me know what you think. I'll catch y'all in the next one. And I'm out.